Hey everyone, it's Tremia, and I've been gone a while again. This time I spent the last month in the hospital. It was on I think a Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. I woke up about 3 a.m. And was very sick at my stomach, throwing up, and sorry for that, and also my temperature was above 102. It was like 102.4, and at that point Dwayne said he started watching my respirations, and they were up. My O2 sats had went down, and my blood pressure was going down, and so he said, "We're heading to the hospital. You're going septic." And I said, "Okay, let me go comb my hair and put on some clothes." And he said, "No, we're going as is." And he got me into the car, and we headed to the nearest hospital, and which is a good hospital. And when we got in there, they took my temperature, and it was already 103.7. And Dwayne and the doctor were talking. I was already kind of going in and out of it. I thought I was remembering what was happening, but at this point, you know, there's no memory of that. And so they started IVs, and there was a mistake made because they started me on antibiotics before they got the cultures drawn. And then they did a UA and did my blood. And so, you know, of course, the initial, it was definitely a UTI. One of the, you know, is bad. And but the cultures were no good because of the antibiotic. But since we got to the hospital as quickly as we did, I didn't end up in the ICU. I was in the hospital for, I believe, 5 days. And, you know, and I was receiving antibiotics, and then I contracted, I think is the right word, c-diff, one of the lovely super bugs that you get for being in the hospital. But at that point, they had asked us, "Do you want to go into our inpatient rehabilitation hospital for physical therapy and occupational therapy?" And I had been wanting to go into that hospital, but the only way you can get in there is from being an inpatient at their main hospital, and then they transfer you over. And so it was a blessing in disguise. And so that day, that it wasn't supposed to happen the day. This was like on a Wednesday, that they came into my room and started just out of nowhere packing my stuff, saying transportation's here. I was supposed to transfer over there like on the Friday, you know, a couple of days later. But that morning I was sick at my stomach, and, you know, I've had c-diff before, and I told that nurse, I said, "I need to be tested for c-diff." And it was a young man. Never going to forget him, never going to forget his name. And he said, "Nope, there's no labs for it. No requests for it." And I said, "Well, yesterday, you know, the infectious disease doctor, he had mentioned it." And I said, "You know, this morning, I'm pretty certain I have c-diff." And he goes, "No, there's no test, nothing for it." And then about 2 hours later, he came in. "We need to get a sample." And it's like, "Told you so." And then like that, after that is like 2 hours after that they came in and started swarming around. And I had had a bad week of getting IVs to maintain. Over the 5 days that I was in there, I had 5 IVs, 1 midline, which I've never heard of a midline, and they had put in a PICC line. No. They hadn't put in a PICC line yet. They had the PICC line people come up, find a deep vein in my arm, and place an IV. And that boy, or that nurse, he come in, he goes, "I'm taking out the IV." I go, "No." He goes, "I have to. You can't leave this hospital with an IV." I said, "But you're just taking me across the street to your other hospital." And I was arguing with him, and he wouldn't let up. And he took out my IV, and I wanted to kick him because I knew I'm on IV antibiotics. And so, and what was weird about my veins blowing all week is, you know, I haven't had the port probably for 2 years now. And my oncologist with my IVIG, you know, the nurses always say, you know, she's a hard stick, you know, we want her to get a port. And he knows my history of my ports going septic. And he goes, "No, we're not going to do it until we know that it needs to be done, and we'll know." And I said to him, "How will I know?" He goes, "You'll know." I know now. Every time they would place the IV, it would automatically just start burning. As soon as they put the catheter into my vein, it would start burning. And nothing, no flushing of it, nothing yet. And so they would do that. And then as soon as they started flushing it, it just felt like my vein was ripping, being sliced with a piece of glass. And even though it hadn't infiltrated yet, it felt like that whole time when medication was being given. And then when it infiltrated, it hurt worse than it has ever hurt in the past. And even on one, as soon as they put it in and she started to flush, it's the very first time I just felt this little in my arm. I felt it actually blow. And it was just, and it, you know, it was blown, and then it just started, you know, rise. My skin started rising with the flush, you know, with the medicine that was going in my arm. And so now I know that my veins, I don't know how I'm going to go to IVIG the next time, and it takes 6 to 8 hours for my infusion. I don't see how I've got a vein that's going to do that. So, you know, they get me transferred over to the rehabilitation hospital. Very nice, brand new facility. And I spent the next 3 weeks in there. I'm running out of time on this video, so I will catch you guys in the next one. There's Dwayne. He tried to hide. Say hi. So, but I'll catch you up and start on how the rehabilitation went and the rest of the story on the IVs. I'll see you guys in the next video.